Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to install this dropper post on my Surly low side. I promised that I would do a video of this. I've never installed a dropper post before, so it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. So if I run into some issues, you'll get to witness them here. This is a P&W dropper post. I did a unboxing of this for what it was worth. This bad boy is going to go here. The frame already has a cutout in the seat tube for it, and so I'm excited to get this going. So the first step here is obviously going to be to remove the old post. Pretty simple. Just undo this screw. Make sure I don't get hit in the head with my handlebar as it swings around. So loosening the seat clamp, I can just take this bad boy out. There's a little grease on there, which you hope to find. There is the seat. And then we'll go ahead and remove this. So now that I have the seat removed, I can just set that aside for now. That'll probably go on near last. And then the next important thing to do, if I can get myself in the camera, is to figure out the cable length for the dropper post. So even though this is my first time, I do understand that it's important to get this correct and have enough length where I can go in through the frame and come out the end so I can install that bit on the dropper and come up the frame, and of course the lever is going to go here on the left side of my handlebar. So it looks a little long right now actually, because then once this goes back down it's going to be really long, so we got to cut a little cable off. So now we're going to figure out the length of this cable that we need to do. So I'm going to assume that's going to go up about that far. It's going to come around. I might want to, routing it is kind of a question. Do I want to go around my head tube and in? Do I want to just actually think, I'll probably have to put a zip tie. Well, I can decide whether I want to go around or not, but I definitely need to cut it off right about there, and hopefully that gives me enough play to hook it up to the seat post here. I'm kind of thinking as I'm talking here. So that comes down, and we'll go a little extra just in case. So we'll go ahead and grab my cable cutters, cut that off. This is a one-time deal. Once you cut it, it's cut. There we go. Now we have the length that we need, which is primary to this whole process. So the way that this works is, I already stuck it in there so I can't show you. Let's undo it. Is this little piece I put on earlier actually goes in the bottom of the seat post. So you just plop it in there in that little opening. It's got a slot in there, so that's all set. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and thread the cable through the housing. I tend to call everything a cable. I call the housing a cable too, which really isn't the truth. This is housing. The cable is the piece that goes inside. So once we have this coming through the other end, we can pull it in, Stick that bad boy in there. And then stick the seat post in there. But missing an important step. I gotta put a little bit of lubrication on the seat post. I gotta go grab my lube. Okay, here we go. Good old park grease. I swear this is the same stuff as Phil Wood grease because it's that same green color. But just take a little bit of this, however you want. I just put it on my fingers. Slide the post out. Get a nice thin layer around the seat post. And the reason you want to do this is you just don't want it to get frozen in there or corroded, which can happen, especially in Minnesota. Alright, so seat post is in there, that's facing the correct direction, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a snug tight down. Not going to go super tight because I know I'll end up adjusting that later. So now I have, what do I want to call this? The business end coming through the frame, come up the down tube into my lever. Maybe I'll just go on the outside like this for now. I can always change it later if I don't like it. This is going to be the tricky part. I was looking at the lever. I will change the camera angle so I can kind of show what's going on. Okay, let's see if I can show this a little bit. So this is the lever and the focus lever. I have to thread the cable through the lever . There are no slots on this lever like you generally have with a brake lever where you can kind of feed it in from the side. The barrel adjuster doesn't have a slot. So the tricky part now is going to be, there's a little hole in here in that NARP I was talking about earlier. I have to thread this through and in the center of that NARP and then adjust it, lock that NARP down. I'll see if I can get that on video. I don't know if I can. Okay, here's this little piece. Try to get this in focus. Here's the NARP in this hand. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this cable back through. Now, the tricky part is I have to, see if I can get this in the camera, stick this NARP with the hole going along. Yep. This is probably going to be the most finicky part of this whole process. Getting this NARP in there. Okay. It's in there. Now, I'm going to try to feed this through the middle of the NARP. I'm kind of using the cable to, I actually use the cable to kind of poke at the NARP and rotate it. So go in there, and here we are. Something is not correct. So I think there's another little piece in here that has to probably be on the other side of this process, which got flipped. So I got to pull the NARP out. Yeah, there's this other metal piece in here that doesn't want to seem to play fair. Let's see here. Okay, that seems to work. Now, we'll do this again. tell if I'm through the... Oh. Sorry, it's really hard for me to show you what I'm doing here because it takes a lot of focus. Now, I believe I have that going through there. So let's, okay. So there's this little like metal, I don't know if you can see it. You might be able to see it in there. There's a little metal like slider thing. I don't really know what it's there for, but I'm sure it serves some purpose. That I had too far forward when I put the NARP in, and then I had to find there's like a perfect little arch in there that the NARP fits into that I had to get. So now that we have the NARP in there and we have everything all tight, we basically can go make sure that things are tight at the seat post. And then I'm going to take my Allen screw. I'm going to go, let's see if I can get the right angle here and get it in focus. Okay. And tighten that NARP down. It's hard for me to tell if that's in focus or not. I know my lighting is terrible. So once that NARP is tight, and basically what that does is it pinches the cable, and now the cable is locked in there, so when I push this lever, it's actually going to actuate the seat post. This lever isn't mounted to my handlebar yet, so I don't quite have the leverage that I need. That's the next step. So the next step, I'm going to put this little clamp on my handlebar. Once I loosen it, it opens up, so it's just a hinge clamp. That's going to go on my handlebar. We need to look for brake lever clearance here. Let me see. I like to run my brake levers in quite a ways. So if this is mounted on there, I actually might be able to go on the outside. This kind of stuff is personal preference. We'll go ahead and tighten that down a little bit. That lever will be okay. So that clamp is on there. I put it on the outside of my brake lever because it looked like on the inside it wasn't going to work too well. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this lever on. Then we'll go ahead and test it out. Looks like it just locks into place there. Is this in the video? Hopefully. Get that a couple of threads in so I don't have to worry about it falling out. Find the right size of my tool. This is where things kind of shape up and I figure out, oh wow. You know, I might have got that right where I want it, right off the bat. You notice this extra cable hanging out, but I'm leaving that until the end and I'll cut it. But I actually have a lever and I believe I am actually actuating the dropper post. Of course, with the bike in the stand, I can't tell yet. So there we have it. We have it. Basically the basic setup. Basically, we have all the essentials set up for the lever, the cable coming through, going into the post. I can kind of feel it. I can hear it. So everything seems good. I might have to loosen this NARP and then tighten it, or I can just use the little barrel adjuster or whatever works to get it to immediately actuate. But I believe this is working now. So let's go ahead and throw a zip tie on here for now to get this cable to be out of the way a little bit. How I want to feed this cable, I'm not entirely sure yet. I might want to go on the outside. The one thing I do know is that all I have to do is undo this hinge clamp, undo the lever, feed the cable wherever I want it to go, and then remount it. So that's something I'm not too worried about doing correctly at this time. Let's go ahead and throw the seat on and try this out. Okay, so I have the bike off the stand, got the seat on, and we're just going to see this in action. It works. Push the lever in, push the seat down. This one's infinitely adjustable, so it can go at any height that I want it at. All the way up, all the way down. Somewhere in between. Actuation seems really nice and smooth. Super solid once it's up there. So that's it. It's a pretty easy install actually. I mean, I think the trickiest part was getting the cable through the NARP and the lever. All I have left to do is cut this off. Throw some zip ties on the cable on the down tube. Maybe reroute it a better way. I'll figure that out. But that concludes the video. Dropper post is installed. Thanks for watching.